Go ahead and go to this first intro shot of our main character, and I want you to focus in kind of here in the shadows, because I'm going to talk about shadows for a minute. It's a big part of this overall look. Maybe this won't make sense, but emotionally the look I've created for this feels like it's printed on old matte newsprint. For me, that really happens right here in the histogram. It's in the shadows. When I turn off the grade, you take a look here, you can see that thing drop. Our shadows, on a regular spectrum, we've got the shadows, the midtones, the highlights, everything is capturing it, and it's close to what your eyes will see. However, this is not what your eyes will see. This is about a feeling, and when I turn that on and you're getting used to this look, it's drastically different. And one of the main parts that's different is that shadow tone. If I turn off, I am on the right one. This node, I set it up to limit to just the shadows. If I turn that back off, you can see what that's doing. It's pulling up our shadow level. It's crushing it into the midtones, and I'm gesturing with my hands, which you can't see. But this is about this feeling, about this kind of dirty, ashen, hazy, just... It's got to feel that way to be 1880s cowboy stuff going on. This bartender, we'll get rid of the scopes for a second. They're up on another monitor anyway. If I go to the beginning of this shot, he's completely blacked out. Without anything on, when he's back there, you can still see his face. You can still see the detail. It looks like it's just almost there, but not quite. This is what's going on top, and that doesn't look black, does it? It looks like a ghost over his face. But once we put on the rest of the grade, now our blacks are that color, and this shape goes unnoticed, especially when it's tracked. There's the shape layer, and it's tracked to go over his face, and it keys off. If you look over in the right-hand bottom corner there, these animation keyframes turn it off and on. That's a kind of a delicate operation. You've got to make sure that that window is not seen, and especially with raised blacks like this, now you can totally tell if I turn it off and on that it's there. But when you just come straight into it that quickly, it's difficult to notice, which is what I was going for. This little scarf, this is just a reaction shot. This is how quickly it happens in there. It's very fast and not super consequential. However, one of the things about this grade is sort of this muted feel. And one of the things to watch out for is really punchy colors like red right here. And it feels enough, turning it off and on, feels natural enough. Everything else is sort of muting out with that. However, it wasn't. With this node turned off, you can see where that red was really going. It's punching a little hard, a little bit too hard. And because it's red, red is the color blood, which is the color that helps your face have color. So you've got to limit that if you're going to punch that down. Did that with this little limiting shape here that's tracked to it. And anyway, it's just to drop the saturation. Kind of a really cool thing that you're able to do in DaVinci Resolve that you couldn't do in some of your other programs. There's another reaction shot. These character shots, they add so much to the whole production. But this guy right here, he's got such a great beard. If I turn it off and turn it back on, there's something specific I want to highlight right here, which is the highlights. If I turn just the highlights on, you can see I've selected on this node only, let's go to the big one. Okay. I've selected and limited this to just the highlights. And the reason for that is because the original, just ever so slightly, the original was this, which is great, but his beard is a little flat. And one of the things when you're gonna take detail out of the blacks by basically crushing the blacks up into the midtones, you're gonna need detail somewhere. You're gonna have to play with that somewhere, and it's pretty arbitrary and I guess artistic, but I needed more detail in the highlights to just bring out the texture of that beard a little bit more, and that's what that one's doing. Then I'm going to go on, I sound like Bob Ross, I'm going to go on to this shot right here. This is a quick one as well, but we're just cutting in real close to these shots. We've just had the standoff between the guys here, and we've shown Megan's face close up as she comes in. And so this is fresh on our mind and needs to match to any other shots, anything wide that we go to. She needs to feel like she does right here. And the problem we run into on this shot, and the way it was going, was not quite as nicely lit as that close-up, which often happens in a film. So what I've done here is create just a power window, track to her, and it's just lifting. See how there's not enough gold on her, there's not enough skin reflection, there's not enough red in her skin. Anyway, I've pulled that up and made it match. I'll go ahead and show one more right here at the end, a reaction shot as Gev comes flying back. There's a window on his face there, because without that turned on, if I turn that off, it's awfully dark, and the original is as well. Because we're losing some of the detail in the shadows, or maybe not losing it, but because his face is in shadow there so hard, wanted a little bit more of that back to pull your eye towards there and anyway, blend it off a little bit more. So yeah, that's the Western Dance Battle.